Here we go. I was on mute. It's the Mexican Soccer Show, an hour-long podcast dedicated to all things Mexican football. Right here, ready to go. Talk all about Mexican soccer, and we'll just jump right in since we're already a couple of minutes late. We're gonna jump in with a big question and saying hello to everybody. The big question of today, of the night, is: with only 4 weeks left of the Liga MX regular season, who do you see as the title favorite? And we'll start with Mr. Cesar Hernandez there at the Tijuana San Diego area.
Hello, everyone. It's gonna be a boring answer. I'm gonna stick with Tigres. I mean,
Tigres.
it's inevitable. They're gonna step up again late into the season. They're gonna step up in the playoffs. I mean, it's certain things the Liga MX are, I don't know, highly unpredictable. But one thing that is fairly predictable is just Tigres doing well in the Apertura. They won the last 3 Apertura titles. It seems like it's just gonna happen again. So I don't know. It's the easy answer. It seems strange that I'm saying this is easy answer for the team that's in 7th place, but I'm sticking with Tigres.
Okay, Tigres. Well, Nerik Licea from the Mexican Soccer Show on Twitter replied to us. He said Dorados. So I mean, there's that.
Clearly, that's everyone's first choice.
We have Nexolu Matondo. I have no idea how to pronounce that. He said America. Adriana, how are you? Welcome back on the show. I know that you were a little sick on some of the episodes, and now you're back. So hopefully you're all better.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, all those home remedies. Yeah, we tried them all. Okay. And then the doctor just told me I was doing everything wrong and just taking the wrong medicine and stuff. So yeah, go figure.
The doctor's like, why are you still drinking tequila? Stop drinking tequila.
Yeah, he's like, no. Like antibiotics won't work with alcohol. You should know better than that.
Wait.
Regarding the question,
they don't.
Apparently they don't. Just one of those things, you have to learn by experience. You're like, oh wait, what? No antibiotics?
It's like serious? Your grandma and your grandpa, or like my dad. I think he like take like a swig of vodka when he was sick. No, I'm not kidding. He really did. And I was like, okay, Dad, you'd get better apparently. But okay, I'll tell him.
I tried just about everything. I had to end up having antibiotics as well. Then I had this like really weird, like sexy-ish voice coming along. It was just like funny.
It's awesome. Adriana decided not to join the Mexican Soccer Show when she had her sexy voice, FYI. So she's like,
well, I couldn't complete the sentence by that. I had like the sexy voice, but I would like cough every like 5 words. So
sexy,
it was like a sexy voice. Yeah,
strangest intro
every 5 words
to the podcast you've ever had. I thought we were supposed to be talking about the title favorites.
Tom's not here. Naive.
Sexy voice.
Tom's not here. Used to be. I remember Naive was always getting us back on track. He's like, okay, guys. No.
Let's be serious.
Okay, Adriana, title contender before Cesar leaves, and he's like, okay, I'm out.
Well, I think actually the easy answer might be Cruz Azul. I just don't see them as strong as I like the beginning of the season. So I'm actually like leaning towards Santos for some weird reason. I don't think it'll stay in Monterrey though. I said that like a month ago. I said I don't think it'll be Monterrey despite Tigres being Tigres. Mm-hmm. But for some weird reason, I think Santos is just quietly like looming around like 3rd position and just be like, okay, I'm good. No worries. Everyone's thinking about America and Cruz Azul. I'm just here 3rd place, no pressure. So
right.
Yeah, I have a feeling like Santos might surprise a couple of people.
Like they did last year?
Yeah, like they did last year.
Exactly. I mean, you got Julio Furch up there, so you never know with someone like that in the attack, especially in the playoffs. It could potentially become, I mean, we already think, I think he's still probably the candidate to be like the MVP of the season, but I mean, him and Jonathan Rodriguez could definitely carry that, but I'm sticking with Tigres, so I'm going to stick with Tigres. We'll see what happens.
I don't know. I thought you guys would both say America. I don't know. I think Tigres is. I mean, Tigres is there, but I really not an Americanista at all. But I'm gonna go with Tigres. I mean, with America, just the firepower and what they are. They're their leader now, and I think it'd be good if if that team brings it back so they can have their the fans that get all crazy when they win. Cari Torres on the chat.
No, we don't like those fans.
we don't. But it's kind of funny.
No, we don't.
Cari Torres says Leon. I wish, Cari. Come on, let's be serious. If we get to the 8th spot of the playoffs, then I might say no. All right. I think America is getting hotter. Bill Men saying that, and Louis there on the chat is also saying Club America. So we'll see we'll see what happens. It's Liga MX, so no matter who you think it might win, it's definitely won't because I don't think anybody had Santos. Right? I don't think it's
Odds
Yeah.
are 80% of the time something else happens. So
yeah. I don't think it was Cruz Azul. Nobody expected Chivas to win. When Tigres is supposed to win, they don't win.
I mean, no, they win every other season. That's traditionally what they do, and traditionally in the Apertura, that's when they do very well. So if we're gonna go with that same kind of like I know weird Liga MX tradition we've had over the last few years, Tigres are at least gonna make it to the final. And because it's Apertura, they're either going to win it or they're just going to become runners up. That's my. I feel like once again, like their Liga MX is so
they're
unpredictable.
finalists.
Yeah, but that's the one thing that's predictable is that they just do very very well in the Apertura, at least the playoffs.
We do have Food Mex Nation's. The Mexican Soccer Show's producer said America, so that's. I don't know why Amy just doesn't say, "Hey, this is Amy," and she says America. So. All right. So we'll go. We'll jump. All right, and that was our question to start us off. Thank you to everybody that's already on the chat. We'll start with our. It feels like it's been so long ago, but Mexico played a game last week. For some reason, it feels really, really long. Like Mexico Chile was not last week. So we're here to also talk about it and get you guys' reaction. Just kind of jump in. Mexico loses 1-0 to Chile in the last of the October friendlies. Before, we still have November friendlies coming up. Argentina was mentioned. We talked about that. But I want to hear your guys' thoughts overall. How did it go for Mexico?
I mean, you're right. It just does seem like it was so long ago. It feels like so much has happened since then. We've seen all the Tata Martino rumors happening. We've seen all the the Liga MX coming back. We've seen VAR making its debut in the league. So it seems like the international break was such a long time ago. But I think when we look back at that loss to Chile, I guess if we're looking at the good or the bad, the good was that Mexico looked decent the first half. They looked kind of fairly more energetic than Chile early on. There was good build-up. All that was missing was a goal. But as the match progressed, just Mexico really started to struggle. I think there's support finishing there from Marco Fabian, Jurgen Damm, and others. And ideally, it's not a good way to end the international break, especially after getting that 3-2 win over Costa Rica. And especially when you saw some of the more experienced players taking part in the Chile match, you thought, okay, it's a little bit more erratic, it's a little bit more crazy in that Costa Rica game, but some of the younger players got the debut over there, got some minutes there. So you thought, okay, against Chile, we'll see some of the better options, but I don't know. I think all that was missing there was just, especially in that first half, was really capitalizing on those chances in the final third. So. It wasn't exactly the most thrilling match, but then again, it's a friendly. I think it's a friendly during a World Cup year, so I don't think that there's really too much to be said about it, especially since we don't even know who's going to be the manager. Everyone says it's going to be Tata. We know who's going to be, but it's nothing set in stone just yet. So I don't know, I'm not too bothered by it. To be honest, I wasn't even that excited or really looking forward to it, but yeah, no, I feel like there's some lessons to be learned, but I'm not too bothered by the loss.
I would say out of all the games, I thought this was the most entertaining. It was it didn't look like a friendly at the beginning, and even towards the end, I think both of the teams really wanted to win. You saw Chile come out with the star power, and although the person that scored hasn't scored since I can't even remember the last time he scored in Liga MX. You just kind of look at it. Okay, all right. They won because I would say our goalie, it was a mistake, but at the same time, a 1-0 to Chile, to a good Chile team with good players. I'm not saying this is the same Chile from a year ago or 2 years ago, but at the same time, I thought it was really good competition. It's probably the best friendly. If we look at friendlies, I would want him to be like this every time. And I know that Tuca, is experimenting with the lineup. He's not going to be the coach. None of the other Europeos were there. But these are the types of games that we want to go against. That they're a little bit more than just we're just getting two teams to play together for the money. I thought it did help, and we saw some players stand out, and excited to kind of see what's been happening. The only drawback is, again, it's. Now the new manager is going to come in. Hopefully gets announced soon, and then it kind of just erases what we just did in the last 2 months, kind of on that perspective. Adriana, to you, the positive and negatives of it. and then we'll kind of jump to see kind of this whole Tuca tenure that we've had, and we only have 2 more games now. But at least to you, useful, none, waste. What do you saw? What do you think?
I think what I appreciated the most was that you could see the difference between the players that we know have a spot in the national team and those that are still fighting for one. I mean, you saw this was probably, despite being a younger team. I mean, you didn't have the Chicharitos or the Hector Morenos and stuff, but you still had probably the most experienced team, despite being also kind of young. So I mean, these are players that we do consider for the next World Cup. So it kind of lets us know how far away the other like younger players are. How far away is Roberto Alvarado? How far away could Diego Lainez be from a possible call up like for an official game, not a friendly after the World Cup? So I think it was good for us to realize that we still have a long way to go with some of the younger players. But yeah, I think it was probably playing wise, I think it was like the best style. It was probably the one that they took most seriously from all 4 of Duca's games this semester. And yeah, I think we all appreciated it. It was just a 1-0 loss. I think everyone was kind of nervous, like, oh my god, what if it's like a 3-0 loss? And then everyone was just thinking this was the revenge of the 7-0 game, which it obviously isn't. But yeah, I think what I appreciated the most was that we still have to consider this generation before thinking about the Roberto Alvarado's, Diego Lainez, and other younger players.
No, I 100% agree. And actually, I think when looking at the game, and I'm looking at some of the more players that I was impressed by. I mean, if we're talking about some of the younger options, I mean, they're 2 PSV options, but I was pretty impressed by Lozano and Gutierrez, especially Lozano, who I think, I mean, just now, it's almost like just with each passing game, it's just becoming more and more solidified that he is going to be Mexico's most attack-minded and creative outlet going forward. And it's nice to obviously that he isn't a veteran. Obviously, he isn't one of the more experienced players. He still has a lot more time to develop. So that was very good to see there. Obviously, he didn't get a goal or an assist, but I think he still had a very good game. And actually, I thought even though he made a mistake there at the end, I was actually impressed by Hugo Gonzalez. I thought he had a good game. You don't want to see him allowing a goal like that, a game winner for Chile there, but I thought he actually had a very good game. So that made me feel quite good. And I know he's not one of the options that are like in their early 20s, but that was just definitely good to see because I mean our goalkeepers are getting really old. Ochoa, he's probably still going to be. Ochoa, more than likely, it's like a 90% chance he's going to be. He's going to be there. Sub. Yeah, at least he's honestly he's probably going to be starting for Mexico in the next World Cup. But you look at Talavera, you look at Chuy Corona. I know Chuy Corona is still pretty good, but he's 37. Talavera isn't at his very best, so we got to look at different options. Lahoud was, wow, he still has so much more to prove before becoming a national team player. Gudiño, I think he still has a little bit he still has to prove at least in the national team level as well, although he was more impressive than Lahoud. But it's good to see at least Hugo Gonzalez really stepping up. Even though he allowed that late goal, I thought that he was actually decent for Mexico during that game.
Yeah, it's unfortunately. Go ahead then.
Sorry, I was just going to say, I wish we had those options, or at least those an idea that we have some players making it to the national team if we in the forward position, because you see and you're like, yeah, we're not worried about the goalkeeper. I mean, we'll get them. It'll be Gudiño, it'll be Lahoud or Gonzalez. I mean, there's options. But then you look at the striker position and you're like, oh my god, I wish we had a couple of those goalkeepers. If we could like transition them up over to strikers, that would be awesome because I was really worried about that. I'm still worried about that position, and especially because I think we all thought that Alexis Vega would be called up and just try to see him in action and try to get him a couple minutes there. So yeah, I mean, we have Raúl Jiménez doing pretty well. We know Chucky, but still, I think we still have to worry a bit about that position and still.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you there, Cesar. If it wasn't for that goal, I would have thought Hugo Gonzalez was at an amazing night. Again, we talked a little about this on the Mexican Soccer Show Extra podcast on Friday. Nicolas Castillo always hits it like if it was, I mean, it's always going a million miles an hour. That guy has a leg. Yeah. So I think at first you saw Hugo Gonzalez trying to stop it, and then you don't ever want to do that. So yeah, you fault him, but at the same time, I thought he did really well before that. I'm excited to see him more, right? I'm excited. I mean, we talked about this aside. If it was Lahoud and Hugo Gonzalez would be like, it's you're seeing that also. We've always been really good about having somebody as far as keepers wise. There hasn't been a time when we have been like, oh yeah, our keeper is not great.
I think the issue is that we've been relying on the same 3 goalkeepers for the last 8 years, and you can even stretch that a little bit further when you look at Ochoa, because I think Ochoa, because
Ochoa didn't go to the 2010 World Cup.
No, I think, but
so I mean, it was Conejo who was there. He was there. Talavera was there. Remember, Ochoa was actually, I think, 2006. He was underneath there with Osvaldo Sanchez.
But I think, but he was still. I mean, but at least with the last 8 years, those 3 have been the big 3 goalkeepers have been in the conversation there. Because, like, I mean, would you say that Conejo's really been there in the last 6 to 7 years? Like,
no, not at all, not at all. But what I'm saying is that I think
40 years.
This usually what happens. This usually is what happens with goalkeepers, and we've always had pretty good. I mean, Jorge Campos was all 90s, 2000, and then Conejo Perez is 2002. Osvaldo Sanchez 2006. Conejo Perez 2010. Ochoa, and I could see Ochoa again 2022.
Yeah, no, I agree, but I just think that I wish we had a little bit more depth, and at least, and I know like people. No, I mean, but right now, not in the past. I mean, just like right now, like if
like for the Argentina game, like 3 goalkeepers would you guys call up?
If that was, let's say, like a FIFA game or like said something important, I think we have good goalkeepers. We have Ochoa, we have Chuy, Talavera, or not even Talavera.
No, but we're looking. But I mean, we have to look towards the future, because honestly, I am not comfortable with the idea of Chuy or Talavera like being involved in the next World Cup. So I think
that way would be who's coming up. But I still think we have Ochoa.
You have to slowly transition them out.
Yeah.
This is, we're looking at
how
old is Lahoud.
Was it Lahoud? I think he's 24. Gudinho is like 22.
I mean, Gudinho would be, it's like Gudinho, Lahoud, Gonzalez. Those are the 27s, 28s.
Yeah. But I think that there's, I don't know. I think with Lahoud, I just mentioned about Lahoud and Gudinho. I think they still have so much more to prove. Hugo Gonzalez isn't, he isn't at the same level, to be honest, as a Talavera or as a Chuy or as a Ochoa. And this guy isn't very young. He's in his late 20s. He might even, is he early? No, I think he's in his late 20s. So I think that's just what worries me. I don't know. That's just what I'm worried about goalkeeper wise.
I would go with striker position. How old is Cota?
No, dude, he's not in the conversation. I don't think he's in the conversation. I mean, he's a late.
I would like him to be in the conversation though.
Is he 30? I think he might be 30, right?
I think he's 30-ish. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I feel like we've never really had a problem. Then he is 31. Rodolfo Cota is 31.
Okay,
I mean, I guess that's the age that we should already have. And I can see where you're going with that. The 31s and 30s, 29 should be competing with Memo Ochoa right now. There isn't anybody at that age.
No, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It skips over the generation.
Ochoa's 33. It's not too far away.
Yeah, and I think that's excuse me. That's where you have that, right? It's like that 25 to 30. We really don't have anybody that should already be commanding to be the next keeper.
It's going to be pretty depressing when Ochoa is going to be the captain for Mexico in the 2026 World Cup. There's like the opener and like the Estadio Azteca, which they probably won't even like fix. There's probably like another Shakira concert right before the World Cup in the Azteca. You're going to have Ochoa the captain.
I know that we have one of the records, León el Cinco Copas, Carvajal. He played in 5 cups, but that would be Ochoa's 2006, because he was there in 2006, I believe, as a backup. 2010, 2014, 2018, 2022. Hey, that could break the record.
I wrote this down somewhere. Whatever, I'll find it later.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well,
anywho,
I think we'll be all right with what, but we go back to the striker position, right? And
that's even more impressive.
I really, really wish you saw Tecatito a little bit more. And also,
I wish it was the Tecatito that we all know. I mean, the Tecatito we all expected for the World Cup, and just like when he recently arrived to Porto, I think we're all still waiting for him to do that. I know he's had lots of personal problems, and he's kind of lost a bit of his performance with Porto, but I still think we're all kind of rooting for him to take up that position, because we know he's just a little more talented than we have actually seen him in the past couple of months. But if he doesn't come back to that performance level, we might be a bit worried though, because he is young. He's one of those like younger players that we know that could transition easily into the next World Cup.
I thought I muted that. Sorry, guys. And then I got me sick through WhatsApp. I think 'cause we were talking,
Yeah.
he was sick, and
One of
so
those weird viruses.
I've been a little under the weather. Yeah, obviously, I think he's doing feels like at least we've seen him in games a little more, and hopefully he just takes that next stride. These are the guys that we need. That's the generation that we're kind of missing, right? After Chicharito, Raúl Jiménez, Chucky Lozano, Tecatito, and it's like, okay,
Yeah, no, I mean, I think,
Oribe Peralta.
I mean, we look at the wingers. We're fine. We're fine in the wingers. I think the issue is just the out and out strikers. I think Jimenez. We're set with him for a decent amount of time. He's probably going to lead Mexico in the next World Cup. And after that, it's just finding the third striker. And I've mentioned this before, but there are a lot of decent options. These are options that need more minutes, need more regular playing time. You look at Rafael Duran from Tigres, who scored over the weekend. You look at Alexis Vega. And you can continue going down the list of players who are promising. The Ronaldo Cisneros, Alberto de la Rosa. There are players out there, but we just need to give them time and just really, really keep our fingers crossed that they're really going to step up and either solidify a starting role with the Liga MX team, or maybe some European team is going to take a chance of them, but they're probably fairly expensive, and I can't imagine that maybe someone like Rafael Duran will be going to Europe anytime soon. It's just really, really hoping that one of those young strikers, because we do have a lot of young strikers. But, I mean, that's the other. We've talked about this too. There are players like a Henry Martin or a Madrigal who are a little bit older, who might be the Oribe Peralta of Mexico in the near future, where it's just like, yeah, they're late bloomers. They're not the most exciting option, but what are you going to give minutes to?
They're the only.
But I mean, that's historically, that's how Mexico usually has, forwards. These older, past 25, late bloomers types of strikers that we have. I mean, with the Chicharitos, Giovanni's, Velas, and that generation, it was kind of like, oh yeah, since they were young, they're trying to be put up there. But we still had the Nigris, right? I mean, Carlos Ochoa, that.
Well, it's just like a consequence of Liga MX being Liga MX. I mean, if you look at the goal scoring table, I think only Oribe Peralta is up there, and he's not in the national team anymore. He has like 6 other players that are on top of him, like Julio Furch, for instance, and Guiñac, obviously. So it's also, I'm not saying it's the Liga MX's fault, but it's kind of a consequence of having all those foreigners, and just obviously always trying to get a good striker, because you can't be patient in Liga MX. You don't have time for the younger striker to have a good performance and just have a couple of goals and then have probably a scoreless streak. So yeah, I think it's like a consequence of how Liga MX works, because you don't see those strikers. I mean, it's even difficult to see one have like a debut this a regular weekend, which was kind of I was looking at this weekend's games, and it was kind of odd because you had Diego Lainez, 18 years old, scored. You had Marcel Ruiz, Querétaro, 17 years old, scored, and then you had Daniel Lahoud, who I think has no relation to Gibran Lahoud. He's 19 years old, and he also scored with Monterrey. And that was just the craziest thing. I was like, oh, my God, you have 3 Mexican U20 players who scored on the same day. That was just crazy. And I was like, okay, might not be the solution for the 2022 World Cup, but definitely I was getting kind of excited thinking of 2026.
I mean, then you had Duran. Not. We don't have to jump into it just yet, but just I think when you look at the youth minutes rule, there are certain clubs that are scrambling, be like, all right, now we have to give them minutes. I think Tigres one of them are just like, fine, we have to give Duran minutes. I think
I'm so anxious to see what Veracruz will do. Like the last couple of games, they're just like all U20 players, which won't even work. But that's good. I think it's reaching the point where they're not going to finish the rule.
But it's such a I don't know. It's such a. I mean, it's good. People are gonna be, and I think you should applaud the youth minutes rule for forcing teams to do this, but it's such a short-term fix. What we need to do is I don't know, if we really want to strengthen our youth talent, that we got to do is strengthen the second division. That would be so much better, because then we could put some of those younger players in the second division. They'd be able to develop better, maybe put more investment in youth academies for other teams. Don't just see an Atlas or a Pumas or a Pachuca or a Santos really stepping up youth academy wise. You should really put that money towards the other. I don't know. I think I like the youth minutes rule, but I think that it's such a short-term fix, and I don't know. Anyhow, I'm kind of rambling now. A little bit of a tangent there for what Adriana said.
I don't know. I'm looking at all the youngsters that are coming up, and I feel like we haven't seen the wave of youngsters that making an impact, and they're coming up. I don't know. In that sense of, or at least actually getting minutes and actually being, everyone sees that these guys are talented. we look back at the 2005, the under 17 World Cup where we saw, Giovanni and Bella and that generation. We're like, okay, these youngsters are finally coming up. And then there wasn't like a wave of youngsters in, that are 17, 18 after them that were waiting to come in. I mean, you saw them what the 2011, U17 and all that. But now we're starting to see, I think, like what Pachuca is doing, and you're starting to see those guys, now making a difference, and I'm excited to see that. And then you have Diego Lainez, you have Alvarado, you have these guys that are under 22, 23 years old that, they're not necessarily doing anything with the sub 23 teams anymore, but they're actually playing and they're getting minutes and they're scoring goals. And now they're in the lookout. Like, I feel like we're at least heading into the right direction with those guys, and hopefully some strikers will come out of there.
So there's light at the end of the tunnel.
I feel like I just feel like we've been talking about potential for like the last 15 years, unless if it actually pans out this time.
Well, I mean, I'm Chucky. It's 3 years ago. What people were calling him up in the national team. I believe his first call up, an official game was against Canada. I think he scored in that game. One of the qualifiers in 2017. And people are like, oh yeah, this kid's gonna be good, and it panned out. And he scored in the World Cup. So I think we're starting to see now. Thank you to goes back to you, Cesar, Pachuca, right? And what they did with the Herreras, starting before that, and we might have seen that with the Olympic team in 2012. Those guys were kind of looking at that, and we're seeing where that goes. So I'm excited. I know that we were talking about, now the generation in between these guys are coming up. I feel like I think we're going to be okay. So, all right.
Fingers crossed, man. Fingers crossed.
National team. All right, guys. One more FIFA date with 2 games actually against Argentina. We discussed that already, so be on the lookout for that in November. But we'll talk about the biggest news that kind of came out in the last week. Was Tata Martino pretty much, 99.9%. I think everything's coming out that it's going to be him for the national team. And, he was thrown into the mix maybe about a month ago. People were kind of talking, hey, there's this guy who's close, who's been all over the place, has coached big teams, doing really well with MLS. And I think it was linked on it, but it was probably last week or 2 weeks ago when now the reports finally have him. So I want to hear your thoughts when he was finally, we had Tata Martino, we had all these guys, and we actually discussed it last Monday. Actually, yeah, we discussed, Tom and I and everyone, I think Cesar on the show, we said Tata Martino is there, and we were kind of chatting about it, and then the very next day it was like, okay, it's definitely, now it's mostly TV Azteca confirmed it, and it's pretty much a done deal when a big TV network like that says it's done. It's pretty much done. But from my understanding, it's just a verbal contract right now. The FMF and Tata Martino, I think they're waiting until what happens with Atlanta. But I want to hear your reactions. This is it. It's kind of funny when we look ahead and we go, oh, who's going to be our coach? All these names, and all of a sudden one night goes, this is our coach. And it's like, so your thoughts. This is it, guys. Tata Martino is going to be the coach in 2019.
This is the worst kept secret in the Federation's history, I think.
Yeah, no, everyone seems to be. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Adriana.
I was going to say, I think that the fact that we're slowly getting used to the idea, and for some weird reason, all players, no matter what nationality, and no matter if they're national team players for Mexico or not, everyone suddenly has an opinion. So I don't know if it's they want to get called up, or they just think they might be called up. I don't know. I have no idea. But I think that the fact that we're slowly getting used to it avoided an immediate comparison saying, oh no, why isn't it Herrera? He's taking America their first place now. Why isn't it Almeida? He just before he signed with San Jose or something. So I think we're slowly getting used to the idea, and that has helped, because obviously every time it's the national team, everyone has an opinion, and for some weird reason, I think we were all kind of leaning towards someone that had an immediate experience with Liga MX, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
But despite that, I think Martino is probably the best choice disregarding the Liga MX coaches. I think we all know what he's done. I think everything he's doing with Atlanta right now is just proof that he's probably the best choice out there. Seeing as though we never found out who the other 23 coaches were, and it was just unrealistic to think that they were actually 23. Well, 24.
That they interviewed.
But yeah, I think it's interviewed. Yeah, apparently like Lopetegui's busy and Klopp and I don't know Zidane probably. I have no idea.
They didn't pick
I
up the
wanna
phone. Like,
know-
what? The
I
FMF?
think-
That place? Nah, dude. Just hang up the phone. Just like, that's what I'm saying.
It's
Yeah,
funny
like,
that
no, dude, I'm
23
busy, yeah.
interviewed, and no one has any sources of the interviewees, but the one guy that's going to get the job, everybody already knows it. Like, I would have thought that, oh, yeah, I was talking to the FMF
Yeah,
and they
we would
interviewed
know
me.
like more options.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
I do really think
I
who
thought
are
we
all
would
these
probably hear
coaches?
from a couple others.
Yeah, then he coaches, oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I was one of the
I
23.
mean, they were
told
saying
them
they were
no.
saying like Gatos, and it depends on his contract because I think it ended. I think Tom said it ended like in January.
Yeah, it ended in January. But that's what I'm
yeah,
saying. They
Almeida just
interviewed
took himself
them.
out of the mix in case.
What's the definition
That's
of the
just
FMF?
weird.
Because if it's just, hey,
I think they
thinking
probably
about you,
like
the
asked
FMF,
like
what do you
for
think?
a profile.
Yeah, I would think like they
I
have
think because
23
then
people.
yeah, because they try to correct it later. Like, well, it doesn't mean we actually spoke with them. And I was like,
Okay,
wait, what,
that's
what,
what an
what,
interview
what do you mean it's an
means.
interview then? Yeah, so I think it was probably they looked into them, like I don't know, maybe call like their agents or try to ask for a profile or ask when their
It
contract
was
was up.
actually the media team at the FMF
Yeah.
that called them for an interview. Hey, we'd love to get an interview.
They follow them on Twitter and have like,
call
dude,
them
I
and be
need
like, hey,
your
can we
profile
interview
or
you?
something.
Yeah, tell us about your history in soccer.
Yeah,
And
but
that was
either it does seem like, I mean, it's pretty clear that Tata is going to be taking over. I mean, everyone is now claiming that he's going to be taking over. And I think another sign that really emphasizes the fact that he's probably taking over is the fact that you're now hearing rumors about who's going to be taking over from Martino at Atlanta United. And you see a bunch of those
Tuca.
rumors too. No, I don't think it's going to be Tuca. Apparently it's a
Kalos.
Boca Juniors manager. And then yesterday, so obviously it's still not official just yet. Martino said yesterday that his situation isn't decided yet with Atlanta, but that it shouldn't take much longer to settle it. So, I mean, yeah, we're all eyes on Atlanta United's playoff run. They have one more regular season match this upcoming Sunday, so they're probably the number 1 and number 2 seed of the East. And the playoffs start later on this month, and I think they might start their playoff run because they're going to be in the East Conference Semis. I think it's going to be the early November that they're going to jump into it. So all eyes on that, and let's see how Atlanta United do in the playoffs. But yeah, no, it's clearly it's going to be Tata, and barring some sort of shocking last minute like discrepancy between the FMF and Tata, like he's probably going to be taking charge of L3.
Wouldn't that be amazing? That would be like so like a Mexican novela. Like everyone's, we know it's Tata. It's just like a done deal. We're just waiting for him to end with Atlanta. Hey guys, guess what? There was this like clause in his contract that says that he has to sign with Atlanta for another season first. I don't know. I can just see that coming.
It could definitely.
Yeah.
But it seems like, I mean,
with the whole
it definitely
keeper drama.
There's something there, like, it's probably some sort of verbal agreement. But yeah, nothing is official just yet. But yeah, I mean, once again, just looking at all the signs, it seems like it's pretty clear that he's going to be taking over once Atlanta United's season is going to be over.
So we're all rooting for Atlanta now.
You kind of go with the Tata Martino, and one of the things that we said, it's like, okay, let's get a manager that has experience. Let's get a manager that has had with the caliber this guy has, coached in different leagues, national teams. He's got a ton of experience. But then I kind of go, okay, well, what Tata Martino has what's something big that when you think about him? I mean, Paraguay is pretty much the only really think like as far as a success.
No, I mean, it wasn't as if like it was a massive failure with like Argentina and Barcelona, and even just that experience with Argentina and Barcelona is just that puts him a step above other candidates too. I think the other thing too is just like what were other realistic options? I feel like so many people who don't want like that have like they're like, oh, why isn't a Zidane or like a Conte like coaching L3? It's like, dude, I would never coach L3, never, like at least in the near future. That would like that's an excellent option when you consider what we could have like passed him. I don't know.
True, but I'm just saying. I mean, I think he's one of the best options. Don't get me wrong. What I'm going to is I'm like, okay, where did he do really well in? That's what I want to know. Regardless if he sees it for us.
I mean,
I don't think Barcelona. I don't think he did well in Barcelona. He was there for a year.
2 runners up at the Copa America with Argentina. I don't know, man. That's not bad.
I'm not saying he's bad, but I don't see him as, and even Argentina from it's not like, oh my god, he's a great coach because he wasn't there for 2 years. Like looking at everything else, he's usually gone after a year, 2 years, in almost all of his jobs. Now he's coming to national team, Mexico national team.
I don't know.
I think some people might want to kill me when I say this, but I mean, you had Miguel Herrera, and he had probably like the least amount of merits necessary to take the national team. I think he was. I mean, he came in like Sergio Bueno does to any other Liga MX team that's in trouble. I mean, that's what happened with Miguel Herrera. To be honest, like he had an amazing team back then, but I just remember America just dressed up in green, and was the only player not available for the national team against New Zealand. So, I mean, if you compare them, like if you see what Miguel Herrera did before he was national team coach, and you see what Martino's done, it's obviously a huge difference.
Of course.
I mean, if we look at it that way, Almeida would have more merit to take up the national team than Herrera. So yeah, I think Herrera was all the other like realistic coaches. Yeah, Martino's probably the best choice.
I think Herrera was also just kind of like, okay, we have nowhere to go, and this guy's winning, and we're gonna bring him in.
And also Martino plays an attractive style of play. He plays something that kind of works well with the current crop of players. It's going to be attack minded. It's going to be entertaining. It's going to be exciting, and I think that's what we want from Mexico. I think that's exactly what we want from him, and I think that's I think with Atlanta, you've been seeing a lot of I was looking back at some of their formations. It looks like they're working with like a 4-2-3-1 and a 3-4-3, maybe a 3-4-1-2. I think it's going to work fine with El Tri. And I think tactically what we're seeing on the field, it's going to be fine. I have no issues with it. It just, I know. And I think that
I only worry I only worry about him having like a project, like to actually make that generational transition that we're all like really kind of dreading. So that's the only thing that I would worry with him, or probably any other coach. I really think that they have to look into someone that's willing to make that generational. It's going to be like a year of bad results, and you're going to be criticized, and people are going to maybe want to kick you out of the team. But you need to start making that change. I mean, right now we don't really criticize Tuca that much because we know that these games like really weren't worth anything except like looking at new players.
And there's also the question of
if he starts doing it like in the Gold Cup, and then he starts losing, and
you really have
to give those young players minutes.
That's the problem with the national team, that you can't, like, a bad coach can make it until the World Cup because it's not like it's huge competition. What do you have? And at the same time, a good coach, can struggle, because they didn't win the Gold Cup. So it's so funny. It's like on both sides of the spectrum. So Tata Martino, what's a big competition they have? Gold Cup, right? Against it would be against the U.S., right? If we're even looking at and it's not like this region has a ton of, there's not that many great teams out there. So, that's the thing, is that you don't see him really going. I mean, if it's a Copa America, if we were going to next year, then it would be like, wow, if he fails, okay, well, we know why he failed. But at the same time, it's like a bad coach can make it. and we've seen that until here comes qualifiers. Yeah. But look what Osorio did.
I'm also going to be interested to see, I mean, once again, if it happens, obviously nothing's official just yet, but I mean, how he just deals with the FMF. I mean, I've talked about it before on the show, but I remember, as an outsider too, because it's not like he's coached a Liga MX team. It's not like he's well-versed in Mexican soccer. I mean, once again, I talked about it before in the past, but just Sven-Goran Eriksson said that like he had to report to seven. Sven said he had to. I mean,
he had
not
like
the
18
best
bosses.
Yeah, report to several different people about several different interests. And Sven was just like, "Why am I talking to this guy from Chivas? Why am I talking to Vergara about a recent friendly?" And I wonder if maybe, Tata's not dumb. I assume he knows about these things. People are probably, like other managers, maybe like keeping him well versed about these things. But this isn't a guy who has experience in Liga MX. This isn't a guy, I don't know who.
This is a guy that's coming from two, I would say, worse federations like Argentina. Like, the guy knows how to handle bad federations.
No, that's true.
And he's also coming in Spain, where it's like the press is horrendous. So I feel like this guy coming like, no, you're not gonna do that to me. And to credit, I think the FMF has changed. I know it's still the FMF and all that, but I feel like at least in that port, because of what we saw with Osorio, had letting him do all the crazy things that he was doing, that people are like, what are you doing? And he still did it. Hopefully I feel like we're going for the better. Which reminds me about Osorio, by the way. I left Mexico because, which many people say, the press and the pressure, and he's fighting with Paraguay, like the Paraguayan press, right now. There's all this controversy of him leaving Paraguay and going to Colombia. Like, it's pretty bad down there. I was listening to a radio
I mean,
program from
that's his
Paraguay.
that's his dream job, though, right? I feel like that's not that surprising. He probably would have left Mexico too, like immediately, if like he could have potentially got a job with Colombia.
Do you remember that he quit? Like,
Yeah.
he went to Paraguay, and then the Colombian team the very next day, I think, let go of the manager. I think, and I was like, I wonder if like he even knew that was about to happen.
There's an evil laugh inside of us all. Like after we read that, we were like all laughing, like evil laugh, like.
Because like I said,
like,
let's
oh my
switch
God.
teams.
Yeah.
Let's switch. Peckerman and Juan Carlos Osorio. But apparently in Colombia, a lot of people don't want Juan Carlos Osorio, and in Paraguay, they definitely don't want him
evil
anymore.
laugh.
And then it's kind of, I'm just kind of like, wow, like this guy. There's
what's amazing?
press conference.
Whenever. I'm sure this happened to you guys. Whenever you tweeted out something about Osorio, like not criticizing him, but saying, "Hey, we didn't play as well as we should have" and stuff, I would get like all these tweets of Colombians just saying like, "Oh my God, you don't appreciate him. You guys are terrible. You have the best coach possible." And now everyone's like, "Oh my God, please no, keep him in Paraguay. Keep him in Paraguay." I was like, "Yeah."
I guess
it's like evil laugh.
I was probably a little too nice to Osorio, so that's probably why I had to get those tweets.
We were nice to him, Cesar. We were nice. I did not want him in the beginning. I'm going to say that. I looked at his resume and I look at Tata Martino's now and I get it, okay? Because I was like, wait, what did this guy do? Tell me one thing this guy did well in a good league. Anyway, all right. I was like, we go back to the bitter ex-girlfriend. It's like, that's who we are. He left us. But now we have Tata Martino. Look at that. Hopefully it's not a rebound. All right. We'll see when that comes out. I think early December supposedly is when it's going to be announced. Some sources
it's a Christmas
say.
present, huh?
No, I think it's like December 8th. I think Azteca actually had an actual date of when they're going to be.
Dang, I want an iPad. What's Tata Martino doing next to my Christmas tree?
So we'll see where that's going. Again, I'm excited. This is the type of coach that I feel like we needed. And
I'm still mourning for Almeida, by the way.
Oh, yeah, he wasn't even talking. They didn't interview him. He's over there at
San Jose Earthquakes games next year.
Earthquake games. Yeah. I think Almeida will come back somehow in there. It'd be interesting to know who coaches first, Mexico, Tuca or Almeida. Like, I feel Tuca's gonna want his coach back. So
Almeida's gonna win the CCL title with the Quakes, and then after that, we'll move on to Ultra.
Boom, 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 boom. There he said. All right, guys. Enough of the managerial updates. Let's jump into Liga MX, which it returned. I feel like it's been gone for a long, long time. Cruz Azul just kind of going, well, we did our work, and now we'll just stay second place so people don't talk about us. So it's in pure Cruz Azuleada form. Like I said, these guys are going to get to the final and lose in the final. And the big laughing stock. But let's talk about Liga MX. What was the biggest surprise for you guys over the weekend? And was it Querétaro beating Cruz Azul? Was it Atlas beating Veracruz?
It was the Atlas Veracruz game having 6 more goals than I predicted. That was probably the best surprise.
There it is.
I was like, yeah, it's gonna be like a
weekend
game. It's gonna be like 1-0 Atlas, and I was like, oh my God, are you kidding me? You guys are scoring more than all the other matches combined.
There's something
also. That maybe your Chivas and Lobos game was surprising.
No, I don't think that's surprising. But I think looking at that Atlas game, I think there's something very Liga MX about bringing in VAR for the first time and then utilizing it 3 times in the first half. Yeah, exactly.
The 2 worst teams. The one that hadn't scored, the one that hasn't had like all the U20 minutes.
It makes sense.
The one that had 4 goals the entire season.
It makes sense.
And
to get the worst teams because they're like, all right, well, they're not really going to use it as much, so it's a good start.
Or are they?
Or are they?
I just feel happy because usually not my Liga MX predictions, I have like a little want to watch for like section for ESPN, and usually I'm just like they're like way off most of the time. I'm like I talk about a game like, oh, you got to watch this game. It ends up being like the worst game. But for once, I was like, yeah, you got to watch this game. It might get weird. It might get like wacky. These are both like terrible teams, and I'm glad I was actually right for once. So yeah, that was clearly a ridiculous, entertaining game. Obviously, with Omar Gonzalez getting the late game winner there off the headed Gallese and net for Veracruz, just doing a terrible job there with him coming off his line. But yeah, that was a fantastic game to watch right there.
And yes, this is the Atlas Veracruz match we're talking about.
It's funny how Amy puts down on our things we have to write. Weeks 1 through 12, 4 goals for Atlas. Week 13,
Atlas.
4 goals for Atlas. And I was laughing. I'm like, I don't get it. Oh, okay, now I get it.
Yeah, they doubled their tally for the season just off of
50% of the goals
90 minutes
last weekend. It's Liga MX. I really, really want to see it.
Yeah, we kind of love it.
It's true. It's true because on it, anything like I put ties on the ones that I just don't know what's gonna happen. That's what I do. I just tie it. Like I'm just gonna tie it. There's no. This is a clear favorite. I really don't know what it is. I'm just gonna put tie, and sometimes I get lucky, but it's funny how when you're looking at that, which I want to definitely give a shout out to all of you fans that keep kicking our butts in our prediction league on our predictions from the table. What you guys now back in first place. Adriana there in second. I think I'm in third. Then you have Cesar and Amy, and then Tom is just horrendous when it comes to the predictions this year. He's usually pretty good out there. So we'll see how it goes. 3 more weeks, right? 4
more weeks because that was just
weeks?
week 13. That was just week 13.
No, 4. Yeah.
4 more weeks. All right. What to look forward? Well, as far as we talked about what's most surprising, but if we're looking at, you both are writers. Liga MX's headline right now.
Right now I think the few things that stood out to me from over the weekend. We talked about VAR a little bit. I don't think it was as controversial as I thought it might have been. I thought there was going to be a lot more anger or a lot more frustration from fans and media regarding it. But I think VAR was it was a decent introduction, but we still have more test runs this upcoming weekend. I think after that, I think what really stood out to me was the Pumas Tigres game, which was just incredible. Just another fun, high-scoring game right there. Carlos Gonzalez with the performance of the weekend there with the hat trick for Pumas, and Aquino who had a hat trick of assists. So I think that was a fun game right there. But other than that, yeah, the Cruz Azul loss. It's a little bit, a little unexpected to see them struggling, but they seem to be having a difficult time away from home. So it'll be interesting to see how they do this upcoming weekend in the Clásico against America, because America has now surpassed them on the league table. Other than that, let's see, the Monterrey getting a 2-1 win over Toluca, Sambuesa getting a red after
Sambuesa's
VAR.
Back.
Yeah, and it was funny. It's just it was the most Sambuesa thing ever. And you looked at VAR, and it was just
exactly. It was Sambuesa 100%. What could the most Sambuesa thing happen? Yeah, first weekend with VAR, you get a red card.
VAR is not going to be Sambuesa's friend, man. It was just he I think it was Aviles. He wrapped him around his legs, and then he just kicked. I don't know. It was just it was such a typical.
You don't see that stuff in wrestling.
What I wanted to make is hey, this is VAR. I'm gonna make sure I make some news this weekend.
But I think
people aren't talking about me enough.
Yeah, I think one more thing. Yeah, obviously. So America got the 3-1 win over 3-0 win over Scholz. But I think the other thing to talk about is just Necaxa's Marcelo Micheleaño, who was fired. He only arrived earlier this year. I feel like he really needed some more time. But it's Liga MX. He's only 31 years old. He's going to be given an opportunity with another team. So it's interesting to see how that goes. But I think that was a little surprising to see Necaxa give up on him so quickly. I think he needed a little bit more time. But yeah, he's another Liga MX manager who has been fired this season.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, I also thought they would be a little more patient with him, seeing as though there isn't any relegation scenarios possible next season. So it just seemed it's the way to go. It's a team. Yeah.
When Leon beats you, you're out.
Much else to do. I was also surprised. I think Diego Lainez had an amazing game against Xolos. I was just really amazed. Yeah. Despite the goal, I think he had a look so
probably his best game.
He all the way could go forward. I think exactly. I think it was his best game we've seen him ever with America. He was attacking the whole time. He wasn't afraid to go forward. He was asking for the ball. He was giving really great passes.
His teammates, the confidence that his teammates around him giving him the ball, you saw that was something that he did before, where he was Diego's there. It was mostly us going, can you give it to the kid so we can see what he has? All right, fine. You're not going to give it to him because you don't trust him. Please. Totally different now. take it over.
Yeah.
Take it away.
Hmm.
Just good to see.
Yeah, I was pretty amazed by that. So hopefully, and it was his first game back after like a month away because of the injury, and he's missed the national team call up as well. So it was a really great game to see him come up and with no Oribe Peralta and just like take over like the attacking position, be like, no problem, we got this.
Yeah.
So I was quite happy about that.
I'm excited for
the
next
other
week
results. I mean,
with Diego against Cruz
Yeah.
Azul. Like here's the big game.
Here's
Yeah,
your
agreed.
chance, like the real chance. Yeah. I'm actually pretty excited to see how many Cruz Azul fans go to the stadium, how many America fans, because
Yeah, that'd be
despite being
yeah.
first place, America has done quite poorly with the attendance at the Estadio Azteca, and Cruz Azul has done like the opposite. So I'm kind of eager to see Cruz Azul being like the administrative home team. I'm kind of eager to see if it's like half and half, or maybe Cruz Azul will take over the Azteca. That would be quite exciting.
And then, do you know if they like switch like locker rooms if they're the home team, or America's always in the same one?
We're actually looking into that because America has like its locker room. I mean, they have the pictures of the players there, and they have like it's entirely like all like America based. So I have no idea what they're gonna do this time because it is Cruz Azul Stadium technically. So
Yeah, because Cruz Azul's technically supposed to be the home side this weekend.
So I'm saying like
I think they'll take the away like lockers. I have no idea. But it's a good question though, because America really has like some really awesome.
Yeah, they have a huge like locker room. It's not like you can just take, Oribe Peralta's giant
like all the pictures away. Yeah,
all the picture that's on the top of the locker room. And I'm like, do they do that every week? And it's Cruz Azul's time. Here you go. Let's put right over Peralta. I mean, things about non-soccer that we kind of think about. Okay, next week, Liga MX. Santos versus Monterrey. I'm looking at the weekend, and I'm like, these are going to be exciting games. Santos, Monterrey, Necaxa, Atlas, Guadalajara, Monarca, Club Tijuana, Pumas, Veracruz, Pachuca, Tigres, Lobos, Cruz Azul, América, el Clásico, Capitalino, and Toluca, Querétaro. Obviously, the Cruz Azul, América. I'm going to ask you guys, what do you think happens in that game? Cruz Azul, América, who wins? The home team.
I think they're going to tie.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised with it because despite Cruz Azul's
I think
problems,
it's going to be a good tie though.
Yeah, despite Cruz Azul's problems away from home, they tend to do all right at the Azteca. So
yeah,
when they're the home
like
team,
a 2-2 or something.
When they're the home team, they do well. Yeah, as far as these types of games, I see players, definitely get more into it on the Cruz Azul versus America, because of all the youth. That they play, since the U15s are always playing against Cruz Azul in America because they're in the DF. So what I've been told from players is that Chivas is there and it's the Clásico Nacional, but Cruz Azul and America are like the heated rivalry that players really do not like each other since they've been knowing each other for a very long time. So that's always fun. Hopefully, no red cards.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
What's most exciting also about next weekend is that you have like lots of matchups between like teams that are kind of at the same position. I mean, you have Santos and Monterrey. Santos is third place. Monterrey is like fifth. So, Toluca and Querétaro. I mean, Querétaro just beat Cruz Azul, and Toluca won't have Sambuesa, so I think it's kind of even there as well. Chivas and Monarcas. I mean, I think Chivas will miss the Liguilla. We can just like say that, but still. Against Monarcas doesn't seem like Monarcas could take an easy win probably against Chivas. Maybe it'll be like a 2-1 or so.
I even forgot León Puebla. They're on the teens, 12 and 14.
Yeah, I'm always terrible about.
That's probably the least exciting match though.
I'm always terrible about the upcoming schedule. This is the first time looking at the schedule, like today. So yeah. No, definitely some interesting games. Yeah, no, I think Santos Monterrey could potentially be a little fun there. Let's see.
Santos Monterrey is definitely going to be a good game. I was like, I don't know, but I'm invested in almost all the games. Like usually I go, okay, I can skip these two, but I'm like, I really want to see this game. I want to see this game. I want to see this game.
I don't know.
Atlas is probably the worst, but maybe if they have like a new coach.
Because I want okay, look what Atlas did. Necaxa go, Atlas could get another win.
No, I'm gonna honestly. I'll probably skip Necaxa Atlas. I'm not gonna lie. I want the Clásico Joven. I want the Clásico Joven. Oh wait, if I could even watch that because I'll
here
be
we are.
For
Liga
that.
MX analysts going. We're probably gonna skip 50% of
the Toluca Querétaro. Let's real.
Okay,
Am I gonna watch that? I don't know.
Yeah. Actually, out of all these, least attractive for me is Toluca Querétaro. Yeah, you guys would. I would probably encourage you
Yeah,
guys. to
León
watch
Puebla.
it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be pretty great when we're gonna say like, yeah, I'm gonna
It's-
skip that, and the next month we're like, so what you think about that game? Oh, if
It
you really look at
was
the
awesome.
stats.
Fun times.
I mean, it's a shame that Cholos Pumas matches at the same time as Cruz Azul America, because that one
Yeah.
seemed kind of good, like a good game. I mean,
Get
the home team
nothing
and Pumas after scoring 3 goals.
is stopping you from watching León Puebla at 6 p.m. on Sunday night.
Yeah, I was saying that. Well, actually, technically, I think technically Tijuana Puma starts 6 minutes after the Clásico Joven, so you can watch 6 minutes of the Clásico Joven and then watch
quality
the
soccer.
Tijuana
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we'll see. So, wait, I didn't get your. What happens with the Clásico Capitalino Cruz Azul Club America?
Give me Clásico Joven.
Joven.
I
Joven.
say 2-2 draw.
You're right.
I say actually, you know what? I'm gonna go with a 2-1 win for Cruz Azul, just because I think they tend to do all right at the Azteca. Yeah, I'll go with the win for Cruz Azul.
All right. Interesting. I'm gonna go with a tie. Because I don't know what's gonna happen, so I go with a tie. that's now you know my.
You're
All
rooting
right,
for the
guys.
pitch.
Really quick. We got a few minutes to go, and we're looking at our producer that said it's Disney Night on Dancing with the Stars this week. Everyone, what's better, Coco or The Lion King? Ponder this as you say goodbye for the night, because we be done.
Is there any question that The Lion King is better though?
Amy always writes these really funny things at the end, and I never read them out loud. So I'm going to start reading what she says, guys. But really quick. Been trying to get your thoughts really quick. I know maybe a few minutes. Now, you know what? We're going to send it for the next. We'll talk about the 2026 Mexico, U.S., and Canada forming in a league later on in the show.
I mean, the North American Football Team Association, also known as NAFTA.
Is that what a football team? I'm all looking at NAFTA. Good job, sis.
I'm like, oh yeah, you're right.
Is this already been a joke and I just missed it for a long time?
Copyright that, Cesar.
I stole that from Twitter like a week and a half ago. Someone mentioned that. Another good one from Twitter was someone said, well, it's kind of a North American soccer league, so why don't we call it the NASL?
The NASL? Nice.
I'm rooting for that. I dislike the idea of the tournament, but I like the name.
All right, guys. Well, thanks a lot for joining us on this week's Mexican Soccer Show. Thank you to all who are on the chat. Lots of people actually talking on the chat today. So lots of you guys joining. And, of course, thank you to all of you who are listening to us via iTunes. Like we always say, give us a shout out on Twitter or any comment on any of our social media. See, who's listening. In fact, I'm going to throw it out there. If you're listening on iTunes, who's the farthest person in the world? Do we have anybody? I know Eldan the man, and you listen to us. I think he's in Australia.
Oh, that's crazy. But is it from like an east to west thing? Because it's like
no, I'd have to say in the world. Well, I guess you're right. Kind of like farthest, because you're like, well, Japan is farthest.
Or maybe the most unexpected location.
Unexpected, yeah. We'll give it. And let us know.
Just tell us where you're listening.
We know our friend Eldan the man is from Australia. I think we had somebody from Holland that would listen to us. But if you are listening to us in another part of the world, let us know, and we'll see where the Mexican Soccer Show is reaching. Right? Okay, amigos, have a wonderful, wonderful week. Thank you, Cesar. Thank you, Adriana, for joining. Mr. Tom Marshall is on vacation, so he'll hopefully be joining us next week. Thank you to Amy, who's tweeting and listening to us ramble here. And all of you guys, thank you to all for continuing to help us out. Well, my camera kind of went away. There we go. All right. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Nos vemos en la próxima Mexican Soccer Show. See you guys Monday, 7 p.m. Pacific.
Pollo Briseño, Chultri.
Bye, guys.
Oh.